Hello students, in this video we are going to learn about the double pawns. Sometimes double pawns are a weakness and sometimes double pawn are a strength. In this video we are going to look at double pawn as a weakness, and in the next video we are going to look at double pawn as a strength. Let's start. In this position we are white and white played pawn to e6. White is attacking the knight and white is also attacking the f7 pawn. So black played f cross e6, and now you can see black has a double pawn and these double pawns are weak. Why these pawns are weak? Because there are no other black pawn to support them. There is no pawn on d7, on f7 that can support these pawns. So double pawns can become a big weakness. In this position they are weak. Why? Because it is easy for white to attack these weak pawns. Look, the rook is already putting pressure on the e file and white can bring other pieces also. Let's say white can play bishop h3 to put more pressure on the double pawns. If white wants, white can immediately play rook cross e6 and capture the e6 pawn. But white is not in a hurry because white knows that these double pawns are permanent weakness. They cannot run away. So white first plays knight e4. First white centralizes his pieces and then in the next few moves white will attack the double pawns and win them. Black plays knight e5. White plays knight cross e5, queen cross e5. And now white plays queen e2. He's putting his queen on the e file. Once the knight moves away, queen will also attack the e6 pawn. White wants to play knight g5. First the knight will attack on e6. The queen and the rook will also attack on e6. So it is impossible to defend the e6 weakness. Black first plays h6, preventing knight g5 move. And now white plays bishop h3, putting more pressure on the e6 pawn. Black plays knight d8. Black defends the pawn. And now white finally develops his last piece. White plays bishop to f4. Black plays queen d5. White plays rook a d1. And black plays queen c6. And black plays queen c6. And now white plays bishop g2, trying to give a discovered attack on this long diagonal. And now you look at the white pieces and compare them with black pieces. Both of white's rook are very active on the open and semi-open d and e file, and compare them with these two rooks. These two rooks are not doing anything. White's knight is super strong in the center. Black's knight is very passive on d8. White's two bishops are strong and they are pointing toward the opponent's queen side, and black's dark square bishop is not doing much. It is restricted by the c3 pawn and nothing is happening on this long diagonal. So white has a big advantage in this position. Yes, white is a pawn down, but white has more than enough compensation for the pawn because all of his pieces are super active. Here black plays e5. Black attacks the bishop and the bishop comes back, c1. White is threatening queen c4 check. So black plays king h8. And now white goes queen g4, improving his queen. Black plays knight f7 and white goes queen d7. White is threatening this pawn and white has an active queen on the 7th rank. So black plays rook e8. Black simply defends the pawn. And now white plays pawn to b4. White is opening new front. White is opening more lines on the queen side. And all of black pieces are stuck on the king side. They are defending these weak pawns. So white is trying to attack on the queen side. Black plays c cross b4, c cross b4, a6. White plays bishop e3. White develops his bishop and black plays b5. Black protects his pawn. White plays bishop c5 and all of white pieces are on the good squares. all of white pieces are on the good squares, and it gives more than enough compensation for the pawn because black has weak pawns. These pawns are weak and black's pieces are stuck in defending these pawns. Now the e7 pawn is under attack and there is no good way for black to defend it. So black decides to sacrifice it. Rook d8, white plays queen cross e7, black plays rook cross d1, rook cross d1. White has regained his pawn, plus all of the positional advantage. White still maintains that. All of white's pieces are more active than the black's pieces. Plus, these pawns are also weak. So white has winning advantage in this position. In the next move, your plan is to play rook d7, further improve your rook, put your rook on the 7th rank. It will attack the bishop and it will also put pressure on the whole 7th rank. So white is dominant and white has a winning advantage here. Let's go to the next example. In this position, we are white. Our queen is under attack by the opponent's queen and our bishop is also under attack. So here white first plays queen cross e6. Black plays f cross e6. Our bishop is under attack and our b2 pawn is also under attack. So white decides to play bishop c1 and protects both the bishop and the b2 pawn. And now you look at the pawn structure. Black has double pawns on the c file and black has triple pawns on the e file. They are even more weak than the double pawns. Black also has an isolated pawn on the a7. All of these pawns are a big weakness. And if you count the number of pawns, white has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pawns and black has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Black has 8 pawns, white has 7 pawns. White is a pawn down, but all of black pawns are weak. They are double pawns and triple pawns. They are very weak. So despite being a pawn down, white is actually better in this position. All you have to do is to point your pieces on these weaknesses. Black here played g6. Black wants to develop his bishop. White goes short castling. Bishop to g7 and white plays rook e1. Now this rook is putting pressure on the e file. Now here black wants to play king f7, but the problem is white will play rook d7 and white will attack this pawn. So here before playing king f7, black first plays rook c8. Black defends the c7 pawn in advance. And white plays bishop e3. White improves his bishop and white attacks the a7 weakness. Black defends it easily. And now white plays bishop c5. Now this bishop is active and it is putting pressure on the e7 weakness. Black plays king f7 because black wants to connect both the rooks and black wants to play rook d8 to exchange at least one rook. But we play rook d7. We are not going to let this happen. We are not going to let black put his rook on the open file. We are attacking this pawn, so black defends it. And now we play rook e d1. We have two rooks on the open d file. We have total control over the open d file and black cannot challenge us on the open file. Our rook on d7 is putting pressure on c7 and e7. So black plays rook e8, overprotecting the weakness. And now look, all of our pieces are active except the king. King is the boss in the endgame. So white plays king f1. White wants to improve his king. The best square for the king is on e4. From e4, king will attack the e5 pawn. Black plays bishop g5, f3, black plays h5. Black is pushing his pawns on the king side because he does not have anything else to do. And now you improve your king. Bishop f6. White continues with king e3. Now black plays rook b8. Black is attacking our pawn. We should not capture the c7 pawn because then black will capture our b2 pawn and his rook will become active. We don't want that. So we play bishop a3 and we protect it. Black plays rook c8, again defending the c7 pawn. And now you play king e4. Finally, your king is also active. It is attacking the e5 weakness. And if you look at all of your pieces, king is active, bishop is active, hitting the e7 pawn, both of your rook are active, all of your pieces are active. And what about the black's pieces? All of these pieces are passive. They are focusing on defending the weak pawns. That's why white has more than enough compensation for the lost pawn. Now black plays g5. He is advancing his pawns on the king's side because he has nothing else to do. And now we play pawn to b3. Now this bishop is free to go to b4, to a5 and to put more pressure on the c7 pawn. Black plays king g6 and now you play pawn to c4. Black plays king g7. He has nothing else to do, so he is just waiting with his king. And now you play bishop to b4. Your idea is to go to bishop a5 and to attack the c7 pawn. And black plays a tricky move. Black plays a5. His idea is that if we capture the pawn, then he will play rook a8. After bishop cross c7, he will play rook cross a2. He will attack our c2 pawn and his rook will become active. So we don't want that. That's why here we play bishop c3. We do not capture the a5 pawn, and from here bishop is putting more pressure on e5. So we can capture the e5 pawn. Black plays c5. And now first we play pawn to a4. We fix this weakness. We can win e5 pawn anytime we want. So we are not in a hurry to win the e5 pawn. Black plays king g6. And now before capturing the e5 pawn, first we capture the a5 pawn. We are getting this pawn for free. We are also threatening bishop cross e7 and then we can capture bishop cross e5. So black plays rook a8 and now we go bishop cross e7. Black plays rook a7 trying to pin it, but it does not matter. We play bishop to b6. We want to capture this pawn first and then we can capture the e5 pawn also. And once we get this c5 pawn, we will have 4 connected pass pawns on the queen side. And once we start pushing them, black cannot stop these pawns. So black is lost in this position and that's why black resigned in this position. I hope you found this video instructive. This video clearly explains how double pawn can become a weakness and how you can attack those double pawns. Now in the next video, we are going to learn when double pawn can become a strength. Let's go to the next video.